Hey peeps, Small Child Lord here, and in this video I would like to talk about the specifics of improvement. Improvement is a very difficult thing to actually pin down, hence the lack of specifics in my original video on the subject. However, I can give what I believe to be the best framework of how to improve. I will go over what improvement actually is, then I will give you the 3 steps to improving. I will also explain how to get out of stagnation within the steps. What is improvement actually? Improvement, in my opinion, is shifting your perspective in order to eliminate inefficient or bad habits and replace them with ones that are more successful. This is different from the traditional notion of improvement of simply getting better. Although a change in how you view the game as well as replacing habits will make one more successful, that does not necessarily make one objectively better. This is how certain players will have distinct playstyles despite being on a similar level. This is not to say that all perspectives are created equal, however. An overly aggressive player may have high peaks if his options work. However, he will have lower valleys because of the lack of safety those options provide if the player does not allow for defense in his game plan. Similarly, with an overly defensive perspective, the player's supposedly safe options will end up not doing anything to actually harm or pressure his opponent, and that defensive player will have consistent but very much below average results if they are not willing to aggress. The perfect game plan, then, would be one that knows exactly when to aggress and when to defend, as well as exactly how to do so. This is obviously much easier said than done, but it is the perspective that one should strive for when trying to improve. Now that I have defined what exactly improvement is, as well as how to identify the correct way to improve, I will give you the 3 steps of improvement. Step 1. Playing without knowing. This step is the most simple, but no less important. In order to be able to analyze and know what to work on, you must first play without knowing what to actually analyze. This does not mean mindless grinding, as you should be actively trying to figure out things such as what is getting you punished, how you are punishing your opponent, and how those things will affect the actions of yourself and your opponent. This serves not only to exercise your ability to do various things such as adapting in actual matches, but it also makes the next step easier as you will have a head start on your notes. Step 2. Analysis. After you have played without actually knowing what to work on, you must get analysis for your gameplay. This can be self-analysis, though I recommend you get analysis from others through replay review or coaching. You can get free coaching on places like SNR or Smash Factory, or you could get paid coaching from places such as Fiverr or Pro Guides. Side note, I provide paid coaching on Fiverr, link in the description. You want to get analysis for as many things as possible, such as your habits that you are not able to take advantage of, and the reason behind those habits. The last one is very important, as you cannot truly understand a habit unless you know why that habit is there. Once you identify what your habit is and why you have said habit, you must think of alternatives. However, you do not want over-analysis. This is because if you get too much information at once, you will simply not learn from all of it. In order to mitigate the fact that you simply will not learn everything from an info dump, you should keep advice either through written notes or a recorded session for later analysis. Step 3. Implementation. This is the most difficult step of them all, and the one that requires the most attention when attempting. You have to be in the game, constantly thinking about what you learned you must do. You could fish for opportunities to implement something, though in some cases this could be impossible, such as trying to implement a game plan. This method of implementation is also fairly inefficient, as you are not actively trying to play the game, and instead you are trying to play a game of cat and mouse with your thoughts and the situations they give. In the worst case scenario, you could even negatively affect your playstyle as a whole if you hyper-focus on one aspect of it. The best way to implement something is to play the game out and then notice consciously when you are put in a situation where you would normally resort to a habit. When trying to implement something, you may get punished for it. Do not let this discourage you. If you let the punishment of your attempted implementation get to you, then you will go back to what is comfortable. Ideally, you do not want to stop the habit entirely, but put it on a leash. You do not want to overdo your implementation lest it simply replace your old habit. When you realize that your alternative simply is not working, start doing that less and try something else. You want to eventually make it so that you do not have a habit at all, and you do every option just the right amount in order to succeed. Getting stuck. A very common pitfall of many newer or mid-level players is getting stuck on a particular step. When you are not going through every single step of the cycle, you will end up stagnating. If you do not play, you will not be able to analyze. If you do not analyze, you will not be able to implement. If you do not implement, then you will end up going nowhere. In order to break out of stagnation in the cycle, you must first realize that you are stagnating. Then, you need to think about where you are and what you must do in order to move forward. The answer to what do I need to do to move forward is very complex and requires a level of personal reflection. Once you know what you need to do, you must act on it. The most common pitfall in many newer players is they will either reflect without action or they will act without reflection. You need both in order to improve. Taking a break. Sometimes you will not want to improve. At times, you may even want to stop playing altogether. Whenever you feel the need to stop, just stop. Allowing your mind to rest will make it much easier for you to get back into the improvement process. After resting, you will have a much clearer understanding of what you have already learned throughout your journey. You will then be able to learn more concepts at a quicker and more efficient pace. Improvement isn't something you can do all at once, rather something that is incremental and time-consuming. Remember this, and you will eventually become a player that others look up to. Conclusion. Improvement is a complicated journey with no set path. There are many things you can do to improve, though this cycle is the most basic skeleton of what you have to do. No matter what form these steps come in, you must go through them and you must be regimented in doing so. This has been Improvement Part 2, Battling Tendencies by Small Child Lord. Please subscribe for more Smash related content.